In this video, I'd like to discuss a second kind of collision detection. In the last video, we talked about point collisions. This time, I'd like to talk about a type of collision detection that will be a little more accurate and will give us a little more flexibility should we have irregularly shaped objects. And what I'm talking about is called distance-based collision. So I'm going to create a new class for this. And I want to begin with the starter code from the mouse class. So I'm going to go grab that. Make sure that you modify your class references from the mouse to this. Okay, compile it, make sure it still compiles. Okay. So again, like with the point collision detection, I'm going to be using two rectangles for this. I'm going to have two objects, and I'm going to define the hitbox for them, and I'm going to call them source and target. Okay, so the source, just creating a default rectangle, it'll start it at 0, 0 with a width. Oh, you know what? I shouldn't do that. So let's go ahead and create it 0, 0 with a width of 50 and a height of 50. Because we do need to have its width and height. Its location is not going to matter because it's going to move with the mouse. The second one I'm going to do is the target. Okay, and the target, I'm going to put it near the center of the screen. So that's going to be about 280 and 190. Okay, so I should put it pretty near the middle of the screen. So those are going to be my two objects. The source will be the one moving with the mouse, and the target will be the thing we're trying to check the collision for. In the mouse clicked, we have the X and Y. That's going to be, well, you know what? We don't need the mouse clicked anymore. We're just going to do all the movement based off of the mouse move. So we're going to move the source just by moving it on the screen. So I don't need this function anymore, so we can remove the mouse listener for the mouse clicked event completely. Okay. And then we do need to draw our two objects on the screen. So let me change them here. Okay, so we're going to have the fill oval. So the first one's going to be the source.x, source.y, source.width, source.height. Okay. Okay. And then the second one, let's just go ahead and copy and paste this and replace it with target. Okay, so this would be target. Okay, so let's compile and test this to make sure that it still works. So here we go. Okay, so I have my two objects on the screen. Now, I don't have them moving with my mouse yet, so let's go ahead and get that done. Oh, and let me actually do another thing here. Let's actually draw these ovals instead of filling them in, because that will allow us to have a more dramatic feature when they are colliding. Okay? Alright, now I want it to move when I move the mouse. So in the mouse moved function, what I want to do is I'm going to add I'm going to add a piece here that I'm going to take my source x will equal my mouse x. My source y will equal my mouse y. Okay, and It's a very small thing. Now, when we do that, anytime that you change interactivity in a J component, like a J panel, you need to make sure you repaint the screen. So I'm going to suggest to repaint the screen anytime that we move the mouse. This way we will be able to see the updates to the objects on the screen. So compile and test this. And there we go. Now I don't really like this. I kind of, you probably can't see it because I'm not showing my mouse cursor in the video, but the circle is not in the center of my cursor. I kind of would have liked it to be, but we'll work with it as it is here. In a future video I may show you how to actually center these so that they look a little bit better. Okay, so let's look at how the collision detection on this works. So what I want to do is, after I have moved the mouse, I want to check for that collision detection. Okay, and to do this, I want to do it based on the distance from the center. So that means that I need to actually get the center of these two things. Also, I will need to be able to calculate the distance. So let's come and add a function in here to calculate this distance. It's going to be the first thing we do. And the distance is going to be calculated as a floating point value, and we're going to return it as a double. And what we want to do is we want to pass in the x and y coordinates for the two objects. So I'm going to call it x1 and y1, and x2 and y2. Okay. Alright. Now, if you're not familiar with the point distance formula, you may want to go look that up. Here are some really good derivations on how to do this. Basically, it's the square root of the difference of y squared plus the difference in x squared. So the way I like to do this is I'm going to get, I'm going to call it the dx is equal to, let's see, x2 minus x1, and dy is equal to y2 minus y1. And then what I want to do is return the math dot square root of dx times dx plus dy times dy. Okay, and that's going to give us the distance between those 2 points. So that's going to be the first step in this. So what I want to do, we're actually going to do this in the paint component function, is I'm going to test to see if this collision occurs. So how do I do that? Give myself a little space to work here. So I'm going to say if the distance between source.x, source.y, and we actually want the middle of them. So the middle is actually plus source.width divided by 2. And the source y will be plus source.height divided by 2. Okay, and the reason I need to do that is because I'm adding half the width and height to get to the center of the object. So I want the distance between that and the target's x and the target's width divided by 2, the target's y plus the target's height divided by 2. So if that distance is less than this, for right now we'll just assume that they're the same width. So we're going to do source dot width divided by 2 plus source dot, or target dot width divided by 2. Okay, so if the distance is less than that, that means there's a collision. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill in the target oval to show that there is a collision. And just to make it show out, let's do it in a different color. So g.set color.red. Now be aware, because we're changing the color here, we do need to change it back before we draw these ovals. So I'm going to move this set color to before these ovals. So now when we test this, okay, mine does compile, and we're going to test it. So when these two things collide, now you'll see that it sets the target to a specific color. So this is how the collision detection for this works. Basically, you calculate the distance, make sure that it's less than the sum of the thickness that's from the center to the edge of the object. Add them together. If that distance is less than that, then that means that they're close enough that they will be colliding. That's basically how this collision detection works. So, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please leave a like. It'll help me know what kind of content you like. If there's anything that you'd like to see in the future, please leave those in the comments. And above all, try this stuff out. Make sure you're programming a lot. And above all, have fun.